And we're live, rocking and rolling. Oh, look at the reflection, guys. You can see Dan's ring light. You know, it's a true professional that has a
it
ring
doesn't
light.
really work very well, though. Look, off, on. I don't know what's
I have a ring light also, but I have it off to the side, which is just brilliance. Really brilliant.
I guess I could do that.
Anybody that's tuning in on this on a replay, we're waiting for Karen. She is coming, so maybe I'll say ETA to her. I don't want to rush her. I don't want to rush Art.
Well, you have a commitment to a time. On time is late, and
I need a shave. What do you think?
Maybe not before the show. Maybe after.
Oh, of course. Yeah, I'm not gonna do it right now. Well, actually, yeah. Let me be right back. I'm gonna take a shower.
That I could see that as a fetish. You like with a straight razor shaving your beard. I'm sure somebody out there would like that.
Do you think I can make some money off of it or no?
No.
Okay.
No, maybe. I always try to tell my wife, like, please get on OnlyFans. And even if you made $5,000.
I try to tell your wife to make an OnlyFans also.
Good. Dan told me to tell you to make an OnlyFans. Nicole.
Yeah. All right, we'll just start, and then when she pops in, she'll pop in.
I like that. Like she's like a special guest star. She just comes in.
Right.
Keep an eye on the chat though, because I don't know. Do you guys text? Do you have her real phone number?
Of course.
Okay, then maybe let her text you.
That would be weird if I didn't have Karen Peterson's number.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have her number.
Oh, there's a little.
And your lavalier, how do you say that word? Lavier? Is it French?
What? I don't know what you're talking about. Is that
your
microphone?
Yeah, that like sort of collar mic. It's called a lavier, I think. Let me look up how to pronounce that so I don't sound. That's just one of those words I've never heard live. I've only heard it.
I used to read the word hyperbole.
Lavalier.
The word hyperbole, I used to read as hyperbole for a really long time. Hyperbole.
If you never heard it out loud, same with a biopic. A lot of people call it like a biopic.
Yeah, it looks like
biopic.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, let's rock and roll.
Okay.
Welcome to Better Talk Saul. I'm Dylan Schuck.
And I'm Dan Fields.
And I'm Karen Peterson. In this podcast, we're discussing the 10th episode of the 6th season of the AMC original series, Better Call Saul. It's more of the first episode of the post-quill portion of the epilogue, the post-credits scene of Better Call Saul that's lasting for 4 episodes.
Is it, though? Are we going to get 3 more Gene episodes? I don't think so.
Well, I don't know. I was the one that speculated on that, and you disagreed with me violently. But, who knows? Dan's opinions can change at the flip of a coin.
They can. And you know what? If it wasn't for the spoiler that Walt and Jesse were going to be on, I don't think anybody would assume at this point that we wouldn't just be getting 3 more Genes. Like, that would be it.
We've purposely not mentioned that on the podcast until right now, but
we mentioned it like 10 times. Karen mentioned it 4 episodes ago.
I don't think she did. I think we stopped her from doing that. Anyway, you're listening to Better Talk Saul. In this podcast, we're not pretending Breaking Bad doesn't exist, so tread lightly if you're concerned about that show's spoilers. Ironic that we said that right now.
Yeah. Very heated on the internet. This episode.
Oh yeah, fuck everybody.
Divisive. I mean,
I had to say vote John for council. You're coming in hot, man.
Our favorite listener.
I'm not voting for you anymore. I'm not voting for John for council.
He did not like the episode. He tweeted at us. It was very
and then started lashing out against us.
I don't know about that.
Not really. I'm just messing with you, John. I'll still vote for you. But definitely people need to consider who they're going to vote for council. John is a good option, but consider all options. Just make sure you vote, because John for council, he I think that he should be the front runner, but
I agree.
I don't know when this council vote's happening. I don't know when this council vote's
November, probably, right? November.
I think it's already. I don't know if it's over or not. Let us know in the comments if you think that you're going to vote for John for council. So also,
I enjoyed it.
I don't know why Karen's being so quiet, but she'll start speaking momentarily. And yeah. So what did you? I don't know. I don't find this episode as divisive. I would take this episode over most of those planning episodes that I freaking hated so much earlier in the season. While I don't like, in hindsight, was now that everything's all said and done, I don't mind those episodes. But at the time,
yeah,
it was, like being tortured to death.
I loved it. I loved every single thing about this episode. I thought it was quintessential Jimmy Con. It was silly. It was weird. The montages. The actor who played the security guard from Parks and Rec basically played Jerry, his character from Parks and Rec, which was funny. The Carol Burnett stuff was cool, and I think a lot of people who aren't like us who follow the show, like when I watched it with my wife, she's like, "Who's this guy? Who's this new guy?" Because they had to change the actor who plays Jeffy, which
that was bothering me because the actor who played him, that was bothering me because I was like, I thought that it was just a completely other person.
Yeah, so apparently the guy who played him, who I thought was much more, so the original actor, he's on an HBO show called like Run This Town or something.
Yeah, he was in The Deuce, which I did a podcast on, so that's why I was like, wow, I thought it was that guy, but I guess it isn't.
Okay. He was on this show clearly and didn't have a contract. And so just like any actor was like, sick, I can be on an HBO show. I'm doing that. And now he couldn't film this show because of that. And I felt like him as an actor in those other episodes, he was like menacing and kind of scary. But now seeing what Jeffy goes through and that he's sort of like a bit of a loser, I think it's better casting this new actor who's got a little bit more of that like silliness and sadness to him, whereas the other guy was more scary, and I don't think this would have played as well with him. But,
yeah, I really hate that now that you mention it because I just thought I was wrong, but I was right.
Yeah,
so I can say it to myself. But what are they going to do, right? These aren't.
What are they going to do?
These aren't filmed in a vacuum. So I
mean, look, he's minor enough too. They can do this. It's not like they're going to change Kim out and put, God, I don't know, Claire Danes in as Kim or something.
That's a really good casting choice, actually. I mean, I'd rather Ray Seahorn, but if you're going to get Claire Danes, would be a really good replacement, I think.
Yeah, sure, why not?
So, I think I do have to say a couple things before we get too much into it.
Yeah.
We're streaming all these episodes on YouTube. If you go to our Twitter at BetterTalkSaul, we always tweet out a link to the episodes. We usually are streaming these Wednesday nights at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. If you can join in, if you hear us referencing someone in the chat, that's why. But if you can't, then you can still see them there and see our beautiful faces and all that kind of stuff. So that's fun.
Yeah.
But it's like, again, I don't know why Karen's been so quiet this whole episode because I think she's just waiting to garnish her opinions. Karen, can you finally speak up?
Hey, guys.
Boom. There she is. She's just waiting in the wings to talk.
I was.
What do you think about all the things that we just said?
Start from the top.
I think that you make some good points, some fair points, and
now we know she wasn't listening. If she said I made some fair points.
No, all Dylan's points.
I didn't say you were right, just that they were fair.
Oh, they're fair. Okay, it was fair that I made them. Okay, so anyway, thank you for coming back on. We're happy to have you.
I'm so glad to be here. How are you doing, Dan? Are you okay?
I'm fine. Yeah, your boy's got COVID. Everybody, I flew too close to the sun and immediately got off the show and started tongue kissing my wife. So I got COVID from her, but I feel okay. My voice is a little weird, but and
before you guys start raging at us, like I tried to give him an out. I tried to say you don't have to come on if you don't want. I can record Karen Peterson. I said give the people what they want. An episode without Dan.
Without me?
And Dan said, "Fuck the people."
Fuck the people. I know.
I'm coming on the podcast. I don't care what John for Council keeps emailing us.
I know.
about
I'm here.
not having Dan on the podcast. So anyway, we're happy to have you on still. Toughing it out. Seems like you're okay.
I'm good. I'm good, baby.
We're glad that you toughed it out because you didn't have to. Dan did not have to come on, but he still hates the people much that he still toughed it out and came on the podcast. So we appreciate it.
I appreciate that. Thank you, Dylan.
So
here we are.
I'm noticing that my internet looks like it's coming in and out, so I'm gonna actually switch over to my hotspot.
Okay.
Because
that's okay.
Switch it up.
It might be a second.
You sound fine on our end if that makes a difference. But
I'm glad. I'm just looking at the video. My video looks like it keeps freezing on my screen, so I just don't want it to be a problem.
So the we were I don't know. I think that I was at least surprised because I did expect the episode to kind of go in between the Breaking Bad universe and this, but it felt like this was enough. Kind of when we were talking about this episode, and I think this was so much like a season 1 episode of Better Call Saul. Right? Like this really felt like one of those hijinks episodes. It had tension in it, but it still was kind of a hijinks episode of Better Call Saul. Kind of like reminds me of it reminds a lot of the first season because I've seen the first season of the show so many fucking times because not only did I watched all those episodes twice when they happened, but also every time a new season came out, I rewatched all the episodes. So every time a new season came out, I rewatched the first season and all the subsequent seasons over and over and over again. Are we having technical difficulties over here? My internet's now slowing down. So, okay.
Maybe it was yours and not mine then.
Well, now
you do now.
But at the same time, my internet started slowing down. Dan dipped out, saw it in the chat. Anyway, forget it. But I'm going to keep using the podcast because I need you guys to see what it's like to have this confusing little thing called a podcast.
This is good content.
This is great content.
This is excellent content. Yes.
It did remind me a lot of the first season. As far as that goes, it really felt like some of the hijinks kind of episodes. I think hijinks is the first episode or the first thing I would think of when I think of this episode.
Until you get to the end and kind of really see what he was doing all along, which made total sense. But I think that it was a good way of showing, because I don't know, I've kind of, in the flash forwards that we've gotten where we see the Gene storyline, I've just kind of assumed that he's this broken guy, and what this episode did show, like, now he's still got it, you know.
This is a big thing to pull off. Not easy.
There's this obvious reference to the Jimmy or Saul life with Nippy, the puppy. With the end of the episode, obviously we're jumping around this, but when Carol Burnett asked him where he was like, oh, he was there the whole time. He was just in a neighbor's house. But then after kind of discovering this, that final scene also, obviously we're completely jumping ahead. I'm completely jumping ahead where he picks up the flamboyant suit and decides he looked at it, keeps it back on the rack, and goes kind of back on about things because he's not going to embrace that character once again. He was able to taste that world a little bit, but then not let it take him back over, which was an interesting sign of control.
Yeah. I mean, do we discuss that scene now, or do you want to wait until we get to it like organically?
No rules.
I don't know. I think the whole episode was him. He needed this almost more than Jeff. Like, of course, he did it to like reverse Uno card blackmail Jeff, I guess, but he loved it.
Uno card.
Yeah, and he loved doing it, but it was so low stakes. I mean, a year ago he was, laundering money for meth people and doing unbelievably bad crimes. This was kind of a victimless, simple, silly one. But it was fun. It was Jimmy. It was hijinks. He conned an old lady. Like, that's his favorite thing, elder abuse. But yeah, I think
abuse is his favorite thing. The protagonist of this show that we're watching.
Yes, that's what he was going to do, right? Elder abuse law before he went bad.
Just elder law.
Elder law. Oh, you're right, not elder abuse. But either way, I think he could have gone down a darker path, and he chose not to. And I think that's why in the next couple episodes we'll get more Nebraska. I don't think it's over. I think we'll see something. But yeah, you're right. He did pull some control. What do you think, Karen?
I don't think we should ask her right now.
Karen, your internet might have just died.
Oh no, looks like she's back. Go ahead.
My internet is just being so problematic today. It's driving me nuts. But
get your hotspot. Do your hotspot, and then we'll pick you back up.
I did do my hotspot, and it didn't fix it.
It seems like it's better, but anyway, I like how we try to keep like rolling with the flow when that happens, but it's just hilarious that we're just complete. I don't know. It's completely obvious what we're trying to do, but yeah, I think that it was cool to see him. Once again, we get those episodes where we don't know what they're doing until we see it all play out. But this one didn't draw it out the whole episode. It was really within like 10 minutes we saw what the plan was when he was helping the old lady. We didn't even know who that old lady was at first until he walks in. And then I guess we're sitting here supposed to be like, is this the cab driver? Because my brain was going, well, this isn't the cab driver because it's not the cab driver. But then once the show made it clear that that's supposed to be the cab driver, then we kind of just accepted that as far as that goes. Yeah,
the Albuquerque isotope air freshener. And then I think she was like, hey, my son was in Albuquerque. Karen, before you came on, we were talking about how they switched actors on this, which was probably very confusing to lots of people.
I agree. I think that air freshener or whatever it was supposed to be like confirming for you, like that's who this is. But that was a little confusing.
I feel like the perfume or whatever they do to put on those air fresheners is just like smells like death.
Yeah,
I think it's really concentrated liquid that they put on there, and they also call it liquid death.
Good job.
There it is.
Shout out to Liquid Death for that was a stretch. That was a Bikram yoga stretch right there for me to make that happen. Shout out to Liquid Death, proud sponsor of the show. Make sure to use promo code Liquid Death. Also, BetterTalkSaul at any convenience store when you purchase a Liquid Death, and you will get 15% off your first purchase of a Liquid Death. So shout out to Liquid Death.
Promo code Liquid Death. So just go in and say Liquid Death.
And just say it. Just yell it at the poor cashier. I thought you were going to make like a Bogdan, better like Breaking Bad car wash joke. Remember when Walt's like, "Fuck you, Bogdan, your eyebrows," and he like trashes his air fresheners off the wall.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. Hey, maybe there's something there. Maybe you found that on Reddit.
I just did. It was nice to see Gene happy too. I kind of feel like the past few seasons, he just broke up with Kim, and we haven't seen him happy for a while. And he's at his best in these capers when he's like directing people. You do this, like that scene when he rebuilt the mall as like an obstacle course with his megaphone. Like it was great.
Yeah. Well, and I think just showing him doing all of that shows all the care and thought and the time that he puts into and this is why he's so good at what he does, because he takes the time. I mean, he had to, how many nights did he have to take those cinnamon rolls to the security guards and butter up that guy who clearly was so mad at him because of the whole what do you call it? It turned out not to be a heart attack, but when he fainted, which now I'm like, oh, so that was faked too. This whole thing has been a setup from the beginning.
Wait, explain?
You think that was fake too?
Yeah, I think he faked that. Like, I don't know, maybe he didn't, but now I think he did, so that he would have a reason to get in with the security guards in the first place.
I got it as he fainted, and now he was like, oh, I can use this to my opportunity. Like, I can use this as an opportunity.
I don't know, maybe, but
because his fainting was the one. No, yeah, because his fainting was what got him to the hospital.
I think he had an anxiety attack. right? He was like freaked out about his life
that's
because I
what
think
got
he
him to the
doesn't meet
hospital.
Jeff till afterwards.
Maybe.
So he
Was it after? I was a little confused
it
on the
was.
timeline.
He had the anxiety attack or the fainting or whatever. That's what got him to the hospital. Coming home from the hospital in a taxi was what got him caught by that guy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's right. I forgot about that. You've seen it more
So-
than I have. So
It's more than he like kind of connected it all
okay.
together.
Because I was
But-
just like, oh wow, that was really
That would have been a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
But he was but he did yell something too. He did have a run-in with that other security guard. There was like a shoplifter. I don't remember, but he was yelling at him like, "You don't have to talk to him. Get a lawyer." Something like that.
yeah.
So the other security guard wasn't a big fan of his, but of course he buttered him up with his Cinnabons.
And I thought the
Endless
get
Mike
a lawyer
helped
thing had
out.
something to
The
do
security
with
guard was mad because when they were arresting a shoplifter, Gene told the shoplifter to get a lawyer.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Mike.
I wonder where Endless Mike got that nickname, Endless Mike. I'd like to know one day.
It's
it's
endless Mike.
Yeah.
The Endless Mike, kind of like the Dylan Schuck. Shout out to my Twitter handle at the Dylan Schuck, SCHUCK.
Promo code Liquid Death, and you can follow him on Twitter.
Right, for free. It's if you use that promo code, you can follow me for free. Oh, it's from Pete and Pete. He's the only person still making Pete and Pete references, but that's fine.
Yeah, wow.
He's not the only one.
What,
Sorry.
are you really a big fan of Pete and Pete or something like that? You want to do a podcast on Pete and Pete with me? Maybe we'll do that after the show's over.
The Pete
Not
and talk.
me.
The Pete
Don't
watch.
ask me.
The watch and Pete. All right, so we're using the Breaking Bad wiki. Shout out to Breaking Bad wiki for guiding us through the episodes.
They really do a great job.
Yeah, they do a thorough job. Who's the people that do these wikis? Karen, do you know?
No.
Like what? They just do it for anyway. They do it. Just
I honestly, I mean, I think every show and whatever wiki is done by different people. So the legacy.
I don't mean the actual person, the name of them, but I meant like.
No, I know, but
okay.
I think sometimes it's fan run, sometimes it's people probably involved in the creative process. I think it just depends on what the property is.
So in the teaser,
the nature of wikis too, by the way, I think it's that it's people. Like there might be like one main author, but you could probably go edit the wiki, Dylan, and put some bad commentary and opinions in there if you wanted to.
Oh, I can just edit this? Oh, sweet.
Probably,
all right, I'm gonna edit this.
You probably have to create an account.
I'm gonna edit it right now.
And it'll get downvoted or whatever, but please continue.
Mm-hmm.
So the teaser. In 2010, an elderly woman named Marion rides her mobility scooter around a supermarket in Omaha. She is not. What?
Yes.
How do we know for sure that it's 2010? I'm just
Reddit
because it
figured
says
it out.
so in the Breaking Bad wiki. Shout out to the Breaking Bad wiki. Big fan of the Breaking Bad wiki, and we believe you.
I totally believe them. I'm just curious.
No.
I just would
they
like
figured
to see
it out. I was reading about it, Karen, because of the
game.
all the football talk.
The game.
Where it was like, this guy was the quarterback. They played this team, and they were able to like figure it out. And that also Gene's probably been the manager of the Cinnabon for a year up to this point.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Love it.
So
okay, awesome.
I was thinking while watching this, I was like, did he do a little training? Like, did the vacuum guy give him some training on Cinnabon? Perhaps he applied for the job at Cinnabon and they had this whole ruse for all the experience he had in the industry to get a manager position. What's even the purpose of being a manager? Why wouldn't you just be an employee there? But I guess he wants a healthy amount of money that he can make as he goes along. I'm sure the manager makes a lot more. Maybe it's salary, benefits.
Yeah, I'm sure it's all of that. And I'm sure he had a very colorful resume.
I imagine
that made it look like he was completely experienced. Yeah.
Yeah, the burner phones when they called the last Cinnabon he worked at, and he was like, "Oh, absolutely, But it's funny the effort he had to go through to get a manager job at it. Required
at
a little
Cinnabon in Omaha, and there also had to be an available position.
Right.
Yeah.
Unless he eliminated the last manager, he had a little, accidental fall. But what were you gonna say, Dan?
Walt would have done that. I think that's the other thing this episode shows. Walt would have just killed Jeff. He would have found out some way, but not Jimmy. I was reading about Cinnabon because, people, this is incredible advertising for Cinnabon.
Yeah.
And I don't know, listen, after watching Jerry, he's Jerry to me. I don't know if it's from Parks and Rec. I don't know what the security guards say, but after watching him eat
Frank.
40 Cinnabons, Frank, I wanted a Cinnabon like immediately.
Oh,
but
totally.
the Cinnabon people are over the moon about this, and they were saying they were just as surprised as anyone. Like in that first episode, kind of came out, or the first mention of it in Breaking Bad when he said that. And then after that, they have a relationship with it. And that's like a fake Cinnabon, obviously, in an Albuquerque mall that they built. They're not real employees, but they're like trained like real employees. And even though it's kind of like they're like veiled compliments, like it's not the best. It's not put in the best light. They're just so happy about it because they're like, look, we trend every week and every time the show comes on, we love it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so they're happy about it.
I will say. Well, I will say that Gene is a little bit skimpy on the icing. If you have been to Cinnabon, they put more icing on that. He's like,
that's the best part.
Right? Exactly. I was just like, come on, dude.
Kind of
you
a big
gotta load that up.
No?
Continuity
error on that.
Yeah.
Like, but he actually makes a lot of extra and then gave it to a second person.
That was when he was happy, though. That was when he had a skip in his step after pulling off a con.
I will say too, the irony of the whole thing is when it was used in Breaking Bad, it was used in a derogatory way. Like, my best case scenario, I'll be managing a Cinnabon in Omaha, and it's like, oh man, that's worse than death. Right? That was like, and then Cinnabon, I couldn't have loved that it was used in Breaking Bad as that line, but I'm sure they do. I'm sure they had permission. But then it ended up paying off in a big way when it like literally made Cinnabon fresh in people's mind for the first time in a long time. Speaking of fresh, Cinnabon super fresh. Use promo code BetterTalkSaul for 15% off.
Don't do that, guys. Anyway, don't do that.
Yeah, please don't do
that. She walks upon Gene Takovich, who's stapling posters around the neighborhood looking for a supposed lost dog named Nippy. Shout out to Carol Barnett for being there. I don't know if she'll be in more episodes.
I feel like this was it.
You do?
Yeah. I feel like he dealt with Jeff and that was it,
I feel like he was a little too like, don't you ever contact me again, to not be contacted again. I kind of feel like they were foreshadowing.
Maybe, but that doesn't mean we'll see his mom again. Yeah.
Yeah, I hope we move on from it. It seemed like that was a goodbye to her character when they said goodbye to the character. I also think I said Carol Barnett. I meant Burnett.
You did.
Thank
you
you for not.
I knew what you meant.
Okay.
Show some respect, man. She's a legend.
He offers to help her. She is a proud woman. She does not want much help. And, he kind of convinced her, disarms her by looking for a cute puppy. It's not like a vicious looking dog. He's very good at speaking with elders because of his elder abuse, like Dan said. It's and then the second he ducks down, I'm like, what's he planning? And then he cut, and I'm like, oh, okay. This whole thing's a setup. They threw some shade at Wisconsin cheese in this episode.
Yeah, which was like Schnau's farm, which is the writer, right, of the show's last name is Schnauz or something.
Tom Schnauz.
Yeah, that's what the cheese was called.
It's I would think that I guess you can't see it, right? Anyway, we'll move on from that. I was going to say that he cut her cord, but I guess she's not looking back there anyway, and he just fixed it with duct tape, so that really solved that altogether. Jeff, the cab driver who accosted Gene at the mall, arrives home to find Marion, the mother, conversing with Gene in their kitchen. And he's sitting there, like, is my mother in danger, right? He has to know, I don't know what's going on. But later that night, they're taking out the trash, and Jeff confronts Gene about appearing in his house. Gene explains why Jeff hasn't attempted to blackmail or rat him, because Jeff wants in the game, i.e. the criminal lifestyle. Gene offers an opportunity to play the game for real. Jeff eagerly agrees. And not only that, he, also kind of brings his self-esteem down, kind of like paints him as a loser too, which, kind of boosts, like, helps kind of get him in the mental state where he wants to he wants him to get to manipulate him.
He's a cab driver who lives at home.
Yeah.
Karen, one thing I wanted to ask you,
Right.
Sorry to interrupt you. With the switch between these two actors, one thing that I was saying is this new guy seems much more aligned for this role of kind of being a bit of a doofus, living with his mom, easily conned. The other guy was way more scary, and I almost feel like he probably couldn't have shook him down as much.
Yeah, because I agree with you, because I think one of the things that I found kind of like, what is Jeff thinking? If you see someone that you know is a fugitive and has been involved in and like basically laundering money and stuff for drug cartels, why are you going to try to shake him down? Like, even if sure, he's exactly, or he knows people who will. Like, I wouldn't assume that he was out of touch with all of his contacts, so I wouldn't try to approach him. I would just turn him in and collect the money, so that was where I think you're right. I think the other actor, I don't know that he would have been able to play someone who wouldn't have thought that through.
Have you seen the show The Deuce, Karen?
No, I have not.
Don't watch it. It's not good.
Have you seen it, Dan?
Yeah, I watched the first 2 seasons and I was done.
I can't imagine watching the first 2 seasons and thinking it's not good, but that's fine. He did play a very pathetic character in that show, so I think that he could have portrayed a pretty pathetic guy, but whatever.
Well, it's not necessarily that the actor couldn't do it, but how he was because I don't know, but how he was presenting the role wasn't someone that was
right. It was pretty
like
menacing.
This kind of, yeah.
But I also think they almost went too far in the other direction.
Yeah, maybe. It was the eyes. That other guy's eyes were so mean, and the new guy's eyes, he's kind of just like a doofus.
It almost made it too far in the other direction where it didn't seem like they were sunk up. Right?
Yeah.
Like they didn't seem like the same, but it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
There was, like we kind of teased that earlier, John for Counsel's complaint. Very upset after this episode. And he said, I think we are giving them a pass because of the brilliancy of their previous work. It's hard to reconcile the fact that anyone would give up millions of dollars to rob a department store. If anyone else had written this, we would have an entirely different opinion. And he said the police would be happy to give. The police would be happy to give immunity to a person involved with killing 2 police officers. The plot doesn't stand up at all. My response to this.
Well, hold on one second, Dylan, before you respond.
What is the actual reward on Saul Goodman? Because I don't see it being millions of dollars.
I don't think I see it either.
And that was it's confusing the way he wrote it, but that's what he's saying is like, just go to the cops. Tell the cops, don't get involved. But yeah, I don't think it'd be millions at all.
No, it wouldn't. It would at most I could see maybe $500,000. But also, this is a guy who, as we now know from listening to his mom talk, he had a drug problem in Albuquerque and he ran into some just bad stuff. And he's not a criminal mastermind, obviously. He might be wanted. Maybe he runs a risk or whatever if he does call the cops, and that's why he probably assumes, this is the thing, and this makes more sense why he would try to shake down Gene, is he assumes that the guy who was laundering money for the cartels has a bunch stashed away and he can get more from Gene than he can from the feds.
Yeah.
My response was he wasn't just offering one job though. He was teaching him taking it to the next level. He thought it would be many jobs and gaining skills to become a much more skilled criminal than Gene rugged him.
Yeah. He thought, like, the reason he said yes is because he thought he was gonna be able to, like, this was a new partnership. I mean, after they accomplish it, he's just like, yeah, there's so much more we can do. Baby? Like, we're friends now. And it's like, no, dude, you guys are not friends.
Yeah.
So in the chat, Plug House said, do you guys think there will be another spinoff after Better Call Saul? No, I think this is it forever for anything Breaking Bad related. I do not think that they are going to try to squeeze an ounce more of anything out of this, to be quite honest. Maybe in like 15 years, something like that, they do the Breaking Bad reunion episode. I don't know how they could.
Said that there would be 3 movies, and we got El Camino. They've never said one way or the other if they're still planning on those or not. The other 2.
I would like a show. I would like to see some, like, as long as Chris Hardwick isn't the host, but like, hey, let's get Lalo, let's get all the people together, and I want to see Bryan Cranston talking with Nacho and Gus. Just that would be interesting. Just
Sounds like a
talking
dating show is that you're trying to set up.
I would like to see a talk show or a dating show. Great, why not?
What do you think of this idea from Endless Mike and the Chat? Walt Jr.'s a spinoff called Flynn.
Well,
I would love that.
The two movies that I kind of assumed were the plan, and I could be wrong, but I think one of them would probably have picked up with Skylar and Flynn or Walt Jr. or whatever he decides to go by now, and the fallout, how this affected their lives, and then the other one. I don't know what the other one would have been. I know that there were, after El Camino, there was a lot of assumption that, surprise, Walt didn't actually die, but
kill me.
So I know, I really hope that's not the direction that they go, but there are people who think that that was the kind of
I got an idea, and I'm not even joking. Like, say 15 years goes by, or 10 more years, because it's been 8 years since it showed. In 10 years, do an episode or a movie on Holly, like the real long time fallout, where she's now a drug addict or drug dealer or something of that sort. She has major issues because of everything. You could fill us in on what happened with Skylar and
Marie.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe Gus. Maybe Gus coming up. I'd like to know more about Gus when he was a kid with Max. Maybe. I'm just done with it. I don't know about you guys. I'm like, cool. This was great.
But that was like, I do think they need to move on from Holly Heisenberg. I do think they need to move on from.
What were you saying?
Sorry, go again.
Well, I was going to say, I do think they need to move on from the shows, but I don't know, a movie about Kim Wexler starting up a nonprofit and trying to do better or something. I don't know.
Wherever that ends up.
Kim is not done with the show.
She's
not done with the show, that's for sure.
I feel like...
No, when Ray the other day on Twitter was just like, I can't wait for you guys to see the last 4 episodes. I was like, that's because you know what's going to happen, which means you were there.
Right.
I feel like, first of all, we don't want Vince Gilligan to turn into the next George Lucas, where he's just milking out like every little bit of
the good thing is, so far, everything that has come out of this, including El Camino, has been really good and worthwhile. It hasn't gone into the realm of like diminishing returns. But if he keeps going, it might.
I don't think Star Wars was really like. I feel like Star Wars, like, we were surrounded by the bad Star Wars by the time we realized that it was bad, at least for me. Like, I was just excited to see new Star Wars. I didn't hate it at first, and just kind of like, I had to wait till it all kind of played out, and then I was like, yeah, that was some mistakes. But anyway, Holly Heisenberg, I like the idea of that being the episode title. You know, we could see her having issues, right? She, you know, her life's fucked up. There's a lot of ripple effects from it, and perhaps she starts going by Heisenberg. Starts, you know, I don't know, whatever.
10 years
down the line. I kind of feel like that's not the direction for Holly, but
yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, one thing I was going to say was I feel like Kim getting her own thing would be like Jesse getting his own thing, right? That he got on the movie, because, you know, like, she was like the side character the way that Jesse was a side character of Breaking Bad. It's 100% character A and B, or 1A, 1B. And so I could see her, you know, maybe getting a movie, but we don't know how things are gonna end with her. I feel like they're gonna wrap up her story though, and I think that will probably be good. Anyway,
you know, if they did do another spin-off series though, what could be interesting, maybe just thinking about how this spun off from a character who started off like, you know, but Saul wasn't ever a main character in Breaking Bad. What could actually be an interesting one, which would be totally different, would be that veterinarian, like a prequel with him, just kind of his shady connections, and sort of more of just a like anthology show where he's just kind of helping people do really shady stuff.
Yeah, that could be funny. Almost like a situational 30 minutes, like easy things.
Mm-hmm.
I think we got to move on from this story.
Let's move on,
in
please.
general.
Let's move on, for Christ's sake. Come on.
We're talking about like
get back to the
we're
wiki.
talking about let's do a veterinary show based
I'm
on
just
Breaking
saying
Bad.
it could be interesting.
So anyway, Gene returns to his apartment, makes himself a drink, listens to the police radio frequency. After a few moments of rumination, he takes out his hidden shoebox and retrieves Marco's pinky ring and puts it on for the first time in months. Gene appears to gain newfound confidence as he turns off the radio. He's listening to the radio because he wants to hear if it's been reported about him.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
That pinky ring was cool. That's a nice touch that he's like, all right, it's con time, baby.
Mm-hmm.
So he gets back into this, obviously conning the security guards. And, like we talked about, really good montage of him getting it all. I want to see I'd love if I could remember the little, the 1, 2,
the nursery rhymes for how to steal
little nursery rhymes that came up for like the Armani suit. 2, Armani suit. 3.
No, it was like
Nike.
But it wasn't Nike's just that. Me. It was like, Nike's for me and
right.
Patagonia.
Onya.
For the yeah. I should
have
listened better and written it down.
We didn't get as much training as they had, so we can't.
If I'd had to run that obstacle course over and over and over again and repeat it, I would remember it very well.
Yeah, in the snow, no less.
Mm-hmm.
At one part, Jeff expresses doubts that the plan will work, thinking it's crazy. Gene comments that what really seemed crazy was a broke 50-year-old chemistry teacher entering his office and becoming a multimillionaire within a year. And he persuades Jeff to stick to the plan.
I was wondering about that because I haven't watched season 2 as recently as you have, but Walt had more money than that when he walked into Saul's office, right? They'd already started making money, hadn't they?
Yeah, I think so.
Like he wasn't totally broke and couldn't pay his mortgage yet, right? I mean, it doesn't matter. It's not important, but I was just like,
That's not season 2. That's Breaking Bad.
When he first went into... No, I know. I'm talking season 2 of Breaking Bad. When he first walked into Saul's office, was he broke and unable to pay his mortgage? Or did he just have a bunch of money he couldn't spend?
I think he had a bunch of money he couldn't spend when he first went. Yeah, they didn't because
they went to get Badger out of jail.
Oh yeah, but they don't go to a lawyer completely broke, right?
That's I couldn't remember.
I think I took it that he meant the beginning. He was broke, and then a year later he was rich.
A year later, they had to weigh the cash to know how much it was.
And then we get obviously then bringing in how much money do you think this stuff was worth? $5,000 total?
All the stuff that he stole? Oh, yeah. No. Those Armani suits were probably $1,000 each.
Yeah, the tag on the suits alone was like $1,300.
So how much total do you think the whole thing was?
30?
Well, it had to. So what was the amount that he said? Because they crossed state lines to get the truck.
I think
there was like a certain. No, I think it was. Nice. Mike.
I love you, man. I love you, Mike. 1, Armani suits and run. 2, Air Jordan shoes for you. 3, linen shirts for free. 4, cashmere sweaters out the door. 5, Patagonias to survive.
To 6, survive. That's what I was
in the mix. Please say how you found that. Did you Google it? Or did you just
probably listened really carefully and memorized?
Did you go back and watch the episode real quick, like in the background? Thank you. This is the good thing about streaming these live is we get help out.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yes.
Yeah.
But anyway, but there was a dollar amount when Saul's telling him like, "Oh, here's all the stuff that we just all did."
I thought he said
here's
5,000.
why.
That's why
I don't think 5. I think it was more than 5,000. I felt like it was.
It's got to be more.
It was like 15 or 30.
Yeah.
Well,
then it becomes grand larceny.
I'm sure he got healthily over it, not like too crazy over it, because he just wanted to get to that amount. So it's probably why he selected the items that he did.
Right, because he needed to get high-end items that would be worth enough altogether that it would cross that threshold. But also, like he explains, it couldn't be enough that they would notice that they'd been robbed right away.
Yeah.
It needed to they needed to wait until inventory for them to realize, like, wait a second.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it had to be over 5,000 is what you're getting at. That's what he said. It was over 5,000.
I thought it was 5, more than 5, though.
Oh yeah, but Saul was like, you took 5,000 of goods over state lines or something. And
whatever the number was, yeah. Anyway, the point is, it was a lot of money. It was enough that it was a felony and not a misdemeanor.
So and a federal crime. On hard times, like 30, 20 grand for a guy. That's a lot for him.
Mm-hmm.
So then, while actually making the plan go down, after he timed how long it takes this man to eat a Cinnabon, we get him, and he totally Ted Benekes on the floor. It's almost comical slipping.
Oh my gosh!
Where he slips with his legs high in the air, like he's in a slapstick.
Wasn't that the spot film. Where they had to like mop extra because there was something on the floor?
Yeah, they were. Oh yeah, no. In the mall, the manager is like, make sure they extra mop here.
I didn't draw that connection, so that makes sense.
I think that was the spot. Yeah, we just didn't see them actually doing the mopping, but they had pointed that out. But yeah, that was so funny.
Yeah, and very slapstick, very slapstick. And
he didn't get up. Like that scene was intense. He didn't get up. He just laid there.
Yeah, and wasn't even moving. It's not like he was just like, oh, it was like he was out.
Yeah. He bursts out into tears, says that his parents and his brother are dead. He has no wife, children, or friends. He didn't say anything that was wrong. He actually said actual different things. And, it reminds me of that scene, scenes of him directing people acting to use it. Or almost like we're watching an episode of Barry, but it was, it was.
He wasn't acting. That was real. That's truly how he feels.
Right, but he also didn't need to do that breakdown at the time. It was inauthentic while still being true.
Yeah.
At the same time, and I think that is, it's just. Yeah, it's cool to see him use those emotions to actually get upset, but he didn't need to vent about those things at all right there. Especially when he said, like, his brother. I was like, what's he gonna say? What's he gonna say? It's dead, and think also. I think back at the whole scheme of things, and I'm like, his brother really had a self-fulfilling prophecy about him, about Jimmy, altogether in this series. And he caused the way he dealt with Jimmy caused a ripple effect that destroyed HHM completely and got both of them killed. But he was right. But maybe it wouldn't have happened if he didn't fight against Jimmy so valiantly, I suppose.
Yeah, if he had tried to take him under his wing and tried to mentor him instead of just constantly telling him what a screw up he was.
Shakita thought the maintenance guy was going to catch him.
Yeah, Shakita, I agree. I thought they showed him one too many times to make it think like he's going to see something, but he didn't.
So anyway, that was the thing was when he's grabbing like the Jordans off a display, I'm like, they're going to notice this is missing.
But did you notice he was swapping out for other things?
Oh, he did a good job.
So it's like, it's totally not the same product, but anybody who's just glancing at it isn't going to notice like, oh, hey, there's product missing. It's just not going to be the right product.
Also, Dylan, you worked in retail, man. Like at some point you're like, fuck this job. Like I come in there, as long as no one thinks I stole it. Like that one manager is very much
on the shelves. I agree, but display.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you can see him put some other shoes on the display
when
he's doing that.
He did a good job of covering his tracks.
Yeah. Like the stuff that's hanging, you don't have to worry about that because it's a hanging rack. Who's going to notice? But yeah, I agree with you on the displays. But but Gene thought of that too. So
yeah, you really thought of everything.
The following morning, Kathy opens up the department store. Guess her name's Kathy. Neither she nor her employees or customers are wiser than the night's events. Jeff emerges hiding in the men's room.
Hey, real quick, I'm sorry, Dylan. Before you move on to this part, we didn't really talk about the whole
truck.
The truck and the box. Like, what another smart. Like, that poor guy was in a box for probably hours.
He's kind of an asshole, though.
This was literally a Trojan horse.
Literally, and they never were the wiser to it. But another really smart way. Like, one thing I think you were kind of getting at, Karen, is that if Jimmy, Gene, whoever uses this brain for good, man, who knows really what he could have done. And instead, these sort of silly capers that he's thought through everything, including this, she called his cell phone and he had that silly story about the Spanish mackerel. And then the next day he did bring her flowers. He's really smart. And it's almost a shame.
Capers.
Yeah. But that's the thing. It's like we see, obviously, he wasn't the one who got the end result, but we see his persistence with the elderly folks at Sandpiper ended up getting them, some justice monetarily. And that's the thing is, like, he could have done some really great things and been really great for people, but that wasn't who he was ultimately.
Too busy getting caught up in capers.
Yep,
too many capers and chicanery. It's all chicanery.
Yep. And hijinks occasionally too.
And hijinks. Yeah.
Speaking of capers, you know what goes good on a lox bagel?
Capers and liquid death.
Capers.
Spanish mackerel.
Use promo code BetterTalkSaul at any grocery store when you're buying a jar of capers, and you'll get 15% off that jar. So shout out to that great
capers are great
sponsor of a show.
I don't like
capers.
them.
You know what though? Keep capers in your fridge. If you're ever cooking for someone and you want to make it feel a little fancy, you put capers on there, and they'll be like, "Whoa!"
I know I do. I put capers on everything.
Or parsley. You put a little parsley and capers on something, and people are going to think you're Gordon Ramsay.
Well, we're not going to put parsley because we're not sponsored by Big Parsley, but we are by Big Capers. So shout out to them.
Capers.
Jeff emerges from hiding in the men's room and briefly accosted by Kathy as he pretends to browse for clothes. That means he slept in there all night?
On the toilet.
Yeah, but in the restroom. I mean, at least he didn't have to hang out in the box all night.
I think I'd rather the box because I can at least lie down and on some comfy
because the box is full of stuff. There's no room for him.
The box is packed.
Give me a little space. Give me a little space to sleep in there. But yeah, I mean, I would not like sleeping in a bathroom in a department store overnight. But hey,
that's because you haven't slept in worse places.
Like a box.
Your privilege is showing, Dylan. And also, there's no phones. Like, I feel like I could put me on a toilet for the night. That sounds fun. I will play video games. I will read Twitter. I will watch movies. This poor Jeff.
2007.
He did. Yeah, he did not have an iPhone.
Jeff doesn't have an iPhone.
Jeff can't afford it, but guess what? He can now.
He can now, baby.
Speaking of which, you're sponsored by iPhone. A smirk emerges on Jeff's face as he leaves the store, realizing he's gotten away with the theft. In his garage, he and his friend open the crate and marvel at their loot. I love the writing on this Breaking Bad wiki. Marvel at their loot, exhilarated by the successful caper.
Capers!
Hey!
Shout out to Capers. Gene cuts this celebration short by blackmailing them, warning them of the legal penalties for each state and federal offenses they've committed and threatening to turn them in if they betray him. Mutually assured destruction, to quote Ronald Reagan. He insists to Jeff that they're not friends and warns both men against coming near him or at the mall again. I felt like he had taken some inspiration on Walt, like trying to intimidate him, standing over him. We're not done till I say I'm done. Mm-hmm. And also, in that like last episode where he tries to intimidate him when they're both in the vacuum shop, and he's like, "It's over," He's like, "It's over."
There were a couple times I actually felt like he was Walt with his mustache and his like super receding hairline. There were a couple shots that he looked like Bryan Cranston. I'm sure maybe not on purpose, but yeah, I was definitely getting some vibes there for sure.
I saw some people talking about on Twitter that I should have gotten people's names before I talk about this kind of stuff, but the camera angles were very similar. he's been shot a lot at eye level throughout the show. Cameras from bottom up, portraying him as more powerful. A lot of the similar ways that Walt was shot. So wasn't something I was thinking.
Shot with cameras, not with guns.
Right. They thank you for clarifying that. Karen Peterson. When Carol Burnett comes by the garage with a scooter, Trio pretends to be looking at the engine of an old car and inviting Gene inside. She tells him that Jeff fell in with a bad crowd when they lived in Albuquerque and that Gene's a good influence on her son, which is the opposite of, how he felt, I think, after he and Kim had separated. Prompted by her questioning, Gene tells her that the fictitious Nippy was found with a loving family. And Gene continues to work at Cinnabon, this time working with more enthusiasm than before. He's got his groove back.
Yeah.
And browsing the department store during his lunch break, he comes across a flamboyant shirt and tie and poses with the items in the mirror. A pained look comes over Gene's face, and he chooses to put the clothing back on the rack and walk away. Perhaps he realized that he's Gene now. Saul Goodman is dead.
You know what it was like in movies? The trope of like, oh, you got laid last night, didn't you, man? When someone comes to the office and they're like swinging their briefcase. That was him. Butter in the buns just right, the extra drink. His cup was full, but for a moment.
It's true. That's a good point.
Did you guys watch I Think You Should Leave, that sketch comedy show on Netflix?
No.
That's really funny.
I
heard it was good.
It's weird. I mean, it's like, Tim and Eric weird, but Bob Odenkirk is in it. He's got a really funny sketch, and there's a really funny sketch about these shirts. It's called Dan Flashes. And this would be great. I can make some jokes about it if you guys could be talking about it. But anyone at home who watched Dan Flashes, that shirt at the end felt like a funny crossover of that shirt, Bob Odenkirk, Triples. Just trust me, this is funny, guys.
I believe
you should watch it.
We didn't talk about the opening credits, how it cut off into a videotape. I thought that was really
like the end of the tape. Yeah.
Yeah.
So where do we go from here then? What's the next episode? No tape?
Yeah. Beep.
Just gonna go right into it.
Yeah.
No intro.
I wonder if this teaser was originally designed for the beginning of the series. I wonder what the teaser at the beginning of this would have been like if it was at the beginning of episode 1. Like
what? What do you mean?
The teaser, the opening part of the episode before the credits of him,
like the
basically clipping the pushing her up and clipping the wire, a cold open. And I wonder if what that would have been like if that was at the beginning of episode 1 of the series back in, I don't know, April or whenever that first aired.
You mean if they had done a Gene clip?
Right.
Yeah, it could have been that with Carol
I
Burnett.
think that they should have done that, but
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. I don't know, because first of all, I don't think they wanted to give away that Carol Burnett was going to be in it.
Yeah. Even though
I bet they had not filmed this yet by then or something like that.
They probably hadn't. They might have, who knows? But sorry, I think my internet's starting to freeze up again. My hotspot's off. Is that what happened?
Sounds good on our end.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I also just think too that they wouldn't have necessarily wanted to give away that Gene was going to still have some Saul/Jimmy tendencies. Like last we saw Gene in Omaha, he just looks really broken and sad, and
we left him off saying, "Forget it, I'm going to handle it." When he called the vacuum guy, and then he was like, "I'll handle this myself," and hangs up. That's the last we saw of him. So, but I guess it maybe would have taken the bite off of that because it seemed like he was going to kill them or something.
Right.
Some trivia. This is the first episode where Jonathan Banks, Ray Seahorn, Patrick Fabian, and Michael Mondo are not credited. In fact, Bob Odenkirk's the only series regular appearing in this episode. This also marks the second time ever that Ray Seahorn was absent from an episode. The first one being 5-0, the Mike's backstory from the first season.
Oh, yeah.
I absolutely hate this. This title of the episode breaks the pattern of blank and blank that was going on all season. Breaking this pattern could be a nod to Kim and Jimmy's relationship. The X and the Y is Kim and Jimmy. Since Kim left Jimmy, this pattern of 2 breaks. For fuck's sake, this is the Bravo Vince meme right there.
Yeah.
Let's see. The Nebraska Cornhuskers versus Oklahoma State Cowboys game mentioned by Frank helps date the episode, which is October 2010. In addition, one scene where Gene is reading the paper, the events displayed on the sports page, is from October 14th. In season 4, episode Quite a Ride, Saul asks Francesca to confirm she will be in place on November 12th at 3 p.m. to receive a phone call that Jimmy must receive by a specific payphone. November 12th, 1960 is Jimmy's birthday, which would make him 50 years old in 2010. Oh, so he's 50, just like Saul is in this. Or not, just like Walt was.
Yeah, it was 50. It was his 50th birthday.
Yeah. Wow. It's revealed that when Gene told Ed, the vacuum guy, that he would fix it himself, he intended to help Jeff and his friends commit a crime and then use the blackmail. Okay, obviously.
Yeah.
That's a big trivia there.
Deep cut.
Gene, oh my God, this is terrible trivia. Sorry.
You don't have to read it if it's bad.
I know.
Dylan.
I know. That's why I'm skipping it. Well, they said Gene posing with the shirt could symbolize his acting as Saul Goodman. And hanging the items back up could represent him fully giving up his old persona.
No way! Wow.
That's some really banger stuff. What do you guys say?
Mind-blowing.
What do you guys say we get into the segments, shall we?
Let's
the segments that I totally remember.
Not mean to cut you off. I'd already pressed it, Karen.
I definitely remembered the segments for sure this week. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's get into the first one, which is the funniest moment of the week.
Hey, that's the funniest moment of the week.
All right. Let's get into our funniest moments of the week. Mine was the hilarity of seeing him bribe a security guard with Cinnabon. Funniest moment of the week. Didn't require money. He was able to use his influence with some free Cinnabons. Dan Fields, funniest moment of the week.
What did I write down? I wrote down the Cinnabon stuff, was really funny. To me in particular was when he was talking about sports. Like, I like baseball, but that's kind of like the only sport I like. But I've been that guy where you're at a party and someone's like talking about sports and you're like, oh yeah, the big game. I don't know what they were thinking out there. And you're just trying to seem cool. And that part made me laugh. And he did a good job of just bullshitting.
You know what I love about it is the evolution. Well, he starts off and he's just like, yeah. And then the next time they talked, he was like, yeah, that's the coach. So you could tell he was doing research, but didn't know that much. And then by the end, he was like talking full stats with him and all that kind of stuff. So I really love to see the evolution. I actually think that's actually the funniest moment of the week. I will supersede yours, it being yours. It's my funniest moment of the week. So now you have to come up with a different funniest moment of the week, Dan.
I wrote Dan flashes. That's all I wrote. So fine, I'll take that one instead. Karen, what do you got?
Oh wait, you're flashing the camera right now, Dan. I didn't know that's what you meant by Dan flashes. Good Lord.
Yeah.
Karen Peterson.
Mine is Jeff falling, slipping and falling and hitting his head. Because it looked so funny when he went down, and I have had falls like that, and it's like, oh my gosh, what just happened?
With your legs flying in the air?
That was like a Home Alone.
I did have a fall like that one time, and it was in snow and ice up in Canada. It was a whole thing. But anyway,
I would pay to see that.
I actually would too. I wish it was on video. But I did get a concussion. But anyway, and then but additionally the like dazed oh no, like when he wakes back up and like knows he needs to keep going, and I thought he was just gonna stop. I thought he was just gonna go take the stuff, throw it in the bin and be done, but he keeps going because he has no idea how long it's been. He has no idea how much time he has, but his commitment but it's just so funny because you can tell he's dazed. But he still keeps going. It was that whole sequence, as intense as it was watching Jimmy, Saul, Gene, whatever. It was really funny. Good physical comedy there.
All right, let's get into the next one, which is the best line of the week. Best line of the week. All right. Dan Field, do you want to start off with the best line of the week?
Yeah, I had a hard time finding a good one, but I did Jimmy at the end with the mom saying, and after all that, a happy ending. And that seemed a little maybe foreshadowy / very not true about what's going to happen. I think in the promos they were using that line, and it made us think that it had something to do with him and Kim. When it come to find out, it's about a fictitious dog. But I felt like that was a pretty loaded line that I'm sure we're going to end up seeing.
So is this the prediction of the week or the best line of the week?
Maybe it's a little bit of both. Maybe it's a little bit of both.
I remember, like, even in Breaking Bad, you know, it ended with Walt dying. It was a happy ending because he was able to achieve all of his goals before he passed away, and he was going to die from cancer anyway. So he was like, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, true.
Karen Peterson, what's your best line of the week?
For me, it was mutually assured destruction. Just the way that
She's a big
lays
Reagan
out...
fan, guys. She's a big Ronald Reagan fan.
Hey, you know, I was a child of the 80s. Anyway, but it just the way he says it, and then like just kind of reveals to Jeff what he's been doing all along, and that Jeff thought they were bonding, and Saul's been laying this, Gene, whatever, has been laying this trap for him. And just the way he says mutually assured destruction is where you fully know everything that he's done has been calculated for this exact moment. And he's been just itching at the chance to tell him.
That was a great part. Total 180, mask off.
Mm-hmm.
We're not friends. Screw you guys. And then all that legal jargon, like boom, the lawyer came out immediately.
Mm-hmm.
My best line of the week was cocaine. Shout out to cocaine. It will be the best line you have all week. Use promo code BetterTalkSaul for 10% off cocaine at any dealer that you purchase it from.
Yeah, good luck with that.
I'm pretty sure that's a federal crime.
Yeah, tell him Dylan sent you.
I'm telling you, cocaine will be the best line of your week. And that is the Better Talk Saul guarantee. My other best line of the week was, I am not your friend, and if you get greedy and decide to come back for more, don't. I just like, also that, you know, I obviously, the line's very good. Pigs get fat, but hogs get slaughtered. That's just such a descriptive saying.
That was a good line,
right?
too, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like it's been used, you know, many times in the world, but just saying, just get enough to get fat, but don't become a hog. Mm-hmm. And I think it's a good one. I think let's get to the next one, which is the worst decision of the week.
Ladies and gentlemen, the worst decision of the week.
Karen Peterson, you get to start off with the worst decision of the week.
Oh, I mean, I think the worst decision was Jeff saying, sure, let's go along with your plan instead of just calling the cops.
It's a banger of a worst decision. I would say, you know, we won't know until it all plays out. But I think, well, let me put a pause on that real quick. Here's a nice, I just saw it on the screen while going through it. Actually, good trivia. If you call the phone number on Gene's Nippy poster, you'll be met with a 1 and 10-second automated message from Gene listing off information about Nippy to anyone who may have found him. A recording of the entire message can be found here. Let's listen to it.
Okay.
Are you guys up for that?
Yeah, let's do it.
I got a minute.
This is some good Easter egg stuff.
I love when they do stuff like that.
They have to now. You cannot show a phone.
If they're going to use a real phone number, they have to,
Yeah.
If it's not going to be the 555, whatever.
Luckily, it's on YouTube, so I'm going to play it right here.
Pull it up, Daddy-O.
Hi, you've reached Gene Takovic. If you're calling this number, you may have come across my flyer, or better yet, a very friendly fluff ball named Nippy. He's a Pomeranian, 4 years old on Halloween, light brown with a big white chest and little white paws, all of 6 pounds. Well, 7 after having his way with the peanut butter jar. He was last seen on Clementine and South 35th, probably going after an alley cat or a squeaky ball. He can be a tad shy at first, but he warms up fast, especially if you have a TREAT. When he gets excited, he makes these tiny snorting noises, almost like a sneeze. At the end of the day, he's just a cuddle bug who loves to snuggle on the couch underneath his favorite blankie. It breaks my heart to think of sweet Nippy wandering the streets, hungry and cold. If you have any leads, any at all, please share at the beat and spread the word if you can. Nippy and I would be forever grateful.
Hey, what's up, Gene? It's about to put this episode on the next play. That would be crazy. Okay, so
that sounded like such a middle-aged guy from Omaha type of
right.
Sad.
Get under his blankie. I think him putting the flamboyant suit down. Worst decision you could possibly make.
Yeah, you should have stuck with it. Kept doing cons.
Or just dress with some flair, man. You're in black and white. What if what happened was
things up at the Cinnabon counter?
What if you put that on, and all of a sudden black and white went away and it went full color, Wizard of Oz style?
I said that exact thing to my wife, Wizard of Oz style. That would jump the shark. That would be like an irredeemable, dumb moment.
I don't think
we'd be saying it's dumb if that happened. Sorry.
I did think it was going to actually switch to color after the credits once they established like this whole episode is going to be in Omaha with Gene. I thought they were going to switch to color. I didn't realize the whole thing was going to be in black and white until, a few minutes into that section, the second part. But
maybe the future ones will, I don't
know.
I guess we can have that as a prediction. I didn't really have a bad decision. Mine, I think I don't
use
I could use one of your two. Endless Mike had a good one. The security guard eating Cinnabon and ignoring his duties. A bad decision. Mine, I think, is because I'm predicting that we're not done with Omaha and the heist and Jeff. So maybe him coming down a little too hard on Jeff, and it's going to piss him off. He's going to get caught. There's a great. Do you want to read this Matthew Baker?
We're going to wait We're going to wait for the prediction of the week.
Okay.
I do think another one of the worst decisions was the manager allowing the Spanish mackerel to take priority over getting that box off of her dock.
Right.
So let's get into the next one, which is the prediction of the week.
The prediction of the week.
All right. I'm going to go first. I'm going to use Matthew's prediction of the week. Shout out to Matthews. Prediction: heist isn't behind Gene and Jeffrey yet. Jeffrey gets busted and takes Saul down with him. Saul is extradited to Albuquerque, stands trial, and Kim is called to testify against him. That would feel like, that final episode, like what was it when they were all on trial? That wasn't
Seinfeld?
Seinfeld, yeah. Where they're all they're on trial. That would be literally like Seinfeld, and it ends with wah wah wah.
Shouldn't have divorced him, then you wouldn't have been able to be forced to testify.
Right.
Yeah.
My prediction would be that the Jeff is done with the show. He's no longer going to be on it. That's what I hope. I hope that they kind of, I don't string this out. Let it go. So that's going to be my prediction of the week.
Hey guys, in the chat, Endless Mike, who's been incredible this episode, he posted something about what the next episode title is. I don't know if we want to say it. I mean, people can find it. Yeah, I guess the next episode is titled Breaking Bad, which is it so on the nose that we're supposed to expect the next episode is Walt, Jesse, them, or is it not? And it's a bit of like a misdirection by these guys.
Only time will tell. I don't.
Only time will
did you
tell.
guys watch the trailer? You guys watch the trailer for the next episode?
I did not.
Was there a trailer? I just saw like something really enigmatic at the end of this one. I couldn't figure out.
The crossroads thing in black and white.
Was it in black and white or was it in color?
It was black
and white. It was black and white.
I think that tells you right there. I'm sure it's not. We don't even know for sure that it's called that, but it is saying on the wiki page also. So
it probably is.
Shout out to Endless Mike. You really are endless with your breadth of knowledge.
Yeah, I mean, Karen, the truth is, we know. Well, I don't know yet. I'm still talking about this one. Sorry.
Go ahead.
Like we do know that Walt and Jesse show up at some point, so they had to film new scenes that we haven't already seen in Breaking Bad. But we also know kind of what happened to them afterwards, so it can't be stuff like in Omaha. Like neither of them showed up in Omaha, so who knows? So this Breaking Bad title, if that's legit, it could be some flashbacks ish to that time, giving us more context of what happened in the in-between and when he was finally giving up and making that phone call. I'm not sure, but I will say I like Matthew's prediction. Kim wouldn't really have much to testify about, presumably, because they were already divorced.
She represents him.
Well, she's not a lawyer anymore.
That's
so
true.
Yeah, but I do think that the idea of him getting busted and extradited, here's where we come down to my prediction. I don't know if that's going to happen, but obviously I don't believe that his story is going to end at a Cinnabon in Omaha. So I do think something does need to happen that's going to get him facing the bad things that he did in Albuquerque, whether that's Jeff or something else getting him caught up in that. I do think that he's going to end up back in Albuquerque for some reason.
Yeah, it's only been a year. I think that's something that's hard to tell. Is it's only been a year.
Well, and that's the thing. It's been a year since he left, right? Or since
since he's been
so
back
not since the finale of Breaking Bad.
Yeah, I think
no, a year. The same thing, right? Isn't that the same thing? Because
that's what it's like. We're lining up at the same time. So where he's at now in Omaha is around the time where Breaking Bad, the last episode, is happening, right? We're pretty close to that same time.
It started in 2008. Remember the final season of Breaking Bad? He had his 51.
Right.
So it was 1 year then, and that means 2009. So that means it's a year later if this is 2010. So it's a year after the ending.
How long has Walt been dead?
But
a year.
That's what I'm trying to figure out. Like, I'm trying to figure out when that happened. Like when
the events of Breaking Bad took place over 1 year.
And then it was over a year. I thought it was under 2 years, but more than one.
No, because it was the pilot episode. He had his 50th birthday, and he
went to the Granite State for a while. He was gone for
in Breaking Bad.
There you go. So that happened in 2010 as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So maybe what brings Gene back is seeing a little news story about events.
Oh, right, because there was a time jump, right? Yeah, you're right. There's a time jump.
He was in New Hampshire for several months.
Right. Forgot about the new. Yeah, you're right. I get what you're saying.
That's what I was getting. Yeah, that's what I was getting at. So where we're at with Gene is probably where we were in the final 2 episodes of Breaking Bad.
Right. Well, I'm completely lost where we were at, but that's 100% good point. So yeah, I guess some of this Walt might still be alive.
He might still be alive. I mean, he might still be alive after Breaking Bad. We don't technically know for sure. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
He might still be alive.
Here's what I'm saying. If you've seen El Camino, there is a news report that does say someone survived. We just don't know who.
And with that, let's wrap this up.
I didn't make a prediction.
You didn't.
Oh,
but
all right.
You know what?
Anyway, tell people they can follow you on the internet, Karen.
That's fine. You know what?
I would like to know what Dan's prediction
like I did last week. My prediction was, I've changed it a little bit now too because of Karen and kind of what Mike is saying here about Granite State. I don't think we're done with Gene, of course. I don't think we're gonna time jump back in time to him and Walt in his office. But I don't think we're done with Jeffy and all that. I feel like he's going to come back around force his hand to get back into something. I don't think we're done with Carol Burnett. I feel like you have someone like her, you try to like get her in some more. Dylan's shaking his head, but he's usually wrong. But I don't think him, and maybe even the security guard could be in it again. Like he's going to be upset.
Let's move on with the plot.
But listen,
like,
he was like his best friend for a month, and now he just doesn't come around to Cinnabon anymore. That's gonna make some alarm bells.
Pretty threatened. I mean, if you're kind of a loser, you have a history of problems, and you're afraid of going to prison, yeah, you're gonna stay away from that Cinnabon in Omaha.
Yeah.
Karen Peterson, why don't you tell people where they can follow you on the internet?
You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd at Karen M. Peterson.
Dan Fields, say somebody wants to follow you on the internet and they don't know how. How would you direct them to do so?
You can follow me on Twitter at Dan the Beast or on TikTok at What's in Dan's Rap.
Is it W?
I'm gonna follow you on TikTok.
It's W.
Oh, boomer alert!
It's WRAP. What's in Dan's Rap? WAR.
Oh, WRK. So it's not you rapping.
It's not. Thank God.
Okay.
Oh, I would definitely watch that.
And for me, you can follow me at the Dylan Schuck. That's DYLANSCHUCK. For the show, you can follow us at BetterTalkSaul. Email us at BetterTalkSaul@gmail.com. If you go to our Twitter, you can see a link to our YouTube and you can subscribe. There's some fun other stuff that we do. Karen and I just did Act Turtle together. That was a painful episode, but fun. And we're going to do the same thing, but smaller. Maybe tomorrow.
What day is it? Oh, we'll talk.
We'll talk. And then also you can be along. Like having everybody in the chat, and this really helps us out. It strengthens the episode.
Lovely.
You guys
thank you, everybody.
Stronger with you guys. So thank you guys. Thank you, everybody who's in the chat and added to it too. So
it really is so much better with the chat. Yeah.
BetterTalkSaul@gmail.com if you want to email us anything or yell about your thoughts about Dan. That's it. I'm Dylan Schuck.
I'm Dan.
And I'm Karen Peterson.
And we'll see you next week.